left, so after Sandeep, I think we'll just have time for a couple of questions. We do need to stop at around 1. So Sandeep, as far as you're concerned, your thoughts on this, and also the same question on how do you get to include and really motivate the line managers who are whose primary focus is not CSR.
Sure, thanks. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I have to confess at the outset that, especially after all that we've heard this afternoon, that at Citigroup Global Services, we are pretty much at the kindergarten stage of engaging in this entire initiative. We've started over the last couple of months. We've really spent considerable time confirming management intent about making this strategic social investment kind of a thing, in terms of confirming to ourselves that we are truly committed in participating in developing in the community the capability to access the kind of opportunities, specifically the kind of job opportunities that the growth in the BPO industry is capable of creating. Having confirmed our seriousness of this intent, we have engaged in the, let's say, the physicals of the initiative, in terms of making sure that we don't have barriers to accessibility on our premises and things like that. So that work is underway. The other piece of work, which I think is much more important, which we are engaged with, is trying to scope out the kinds of mainstream jobs that we would like to provide as opportunities to people who are differently abled. Shanti mentioned a couple of kind of jobs which are at a peripheral or at a support level. Those will be easy, but they are not the mainstream kind of opportunities. So we are trying to scope out jobs that we do in the voice area, in data processing area for Citigroup operations worldwide, where we are able to provide people with core mainstream kind of career opportunities. And the second piece which we are engaged with, again, is the entire business of sustainability. That as and when we are able to open up our doors to the differently abled in core jobs, we should be able to provide them a longer term career, not just a job which then becomes sort of dead-ended after a couple of years. So we are engaged in that entire area. We are clear as we look at the road ahead that we are going to need substantial support from specialized agencies and from pioneers and pathfinders like Infosys, and learn from their experience, specifically in the area of talent sourcing and talent support. That's a huge area. And secondly, in the area of training and development. So training in a day-to-day performance sense to the people who are differently able that we engage, and training in a development sense, most importantly, not just the people that we engage, but really providing the competencies and capabilities to our supervisors and managers, in terms of making sure that we create not just a mindset but a physical professional environment which is inclusive, which I think is going to be our single biggest challenge. So really, in conclusion, pretty much at the starting point of the journey that that Infosys is considerably down the road upon, and looking to seriously engage, looking to engage for the long term, and looking for the kind of support that we will need to delve seriously into this entire area. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. So before moving to the room for a couple of questions, let me ask the panel one question very quickly. If you look at physical accessibility, there's a lot of issues in India. I mean, there's very few places, public places or private or buildings, which have physical accessibility. Now, in a lot of countries, there is a mandate. There are government mandates. There are public laws. There are building laws which mandate physical accessibility. So, if you look at the employment side of the story, do you believe a mandate, or maybe a government mandate or some other mandate, has a role to play? Now, there is supposedly a mandate within the government of India to have some percentage, 1% or 2%, disabled people employed. That itself has not really worked very well. Maybe it's not enforced very well. But does the mandate have a role to play? Paul, would you like to?
I think that, from a country that does have a mandate, it doesn't work all the time either. what I think is more compelling is the fact that once you get into the statistics of how you modify for employment of a disability, it's not that difficult. We have what we call a job accommodation network. That's a free service for anybody who wants to employ somebody with disability. And the average cost, additional cost for employing a person with disability is 10% of the first 3 months' work. After that, you're home free, and you continue. And then with the good parts of the employment workspace, it builds itself up. So I think education and grassroots IT people can be the one that develop this. Yes, your Handicapped Act of 1995 does require it, and no, it's not working very well at this point. But I think the mandate could be, better served if it's considered either a moral mandate or a mandate of community service that you do yourself.